Have you ever poured your heart out, only to be ignored? Have you ever chased after someone, desperate to explain, hoping they'd just understand, and still they walked away? We've all been there. You beg for clarity. You try to fix things. You send one more message. You explain yourself again and again, thinking maybe this time they'll finally get it. But they don't. And afterward, you're left with an even deeper emptiness and a simple question. Why did I do that? The truth is, not everyone deserves your explanation. Not everyone has earned your energy. And not every situation needs your reaction. The Stoics knew this long before we did. They mastered the power of restraint. They understood that silence is not weakness. It's control. It's strength. It's peace. In a world that shouts, those who remain calm are often the most powerful. So what happens when you stop chasing? What happens when you stop begging? And simply hold your silence. That's when everything changes. Because silence, chosen silence, becomes your greatest weapon. Not to hurt others, but to protect your soul. Let's talk about that. Have you ever poured your heart out, only to be ignored? Have you ever chased after someone, desperate to explain, hoping they'd just understand, and still they walked away? We've all been there. You beg for clarity. You try to fix things. You send one more message. You explain yourself again and again, thinking maybe this time they'll finally get it. But they don't. And afterward, you're left with an even deeper emptiness and a simple question. Why did I do that? The truth is, not everyone deserves your explanation. Not everyone has earned your energy. And not every situation needs your reaction. The Stoics knew this long before we did. They mastered the power of restraint. They understood that silence is not weakness. It's control. It's strength. It's peace. In a world that shouts, those who remain calm are often the most powerful. So what happens when you stop chasing? What happens when you stop begging? And simply hold your silence. That's when everything changes. Because silence, chosen silence, becomes your greatest weapon. Not to hurt others, but to protect your soul. Let's talk about that. The Stoics taught that we should concern ourselves only with what's in our control. Our thoughts, our actions, our responses. Everything else, external, temporary, unreliable. And that's exactly where chasing, begging, and over-explaining live. In the domain of external validation. Let's break it down. Never chase. When you chase someone, their approval, their affection, their attention, you hand over your power. You say, "You define my worth." But the Stoic believes, no one defines my worth but me. The moment you chase, you lose your footing. You abandon your center. Seneca warned, "He who seeks too eagerly will lose what he desires." And it's true. Desperation repels. But more importantly, it weakens you internally. The Stoic way is not to chase, but to stand still and let what aligns with your principles come to you or pass you by without disturbing your peace. Never beg. Begging is the act of shrinking yourself. It's the admission, spoken or not, that someone else holds something you desperately need. But what if you didn't need it? What if you could let it go? The Stoic learns to need less. To say, if this is not given freely, it is not meant for me. Whether it's love, respect, or recognition. If you have to beg for it, it was never real in the first place. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Receive without pride. Let go without attachment." That includes people. That includes outcomes. You lose nothing by walking away from what was never yours to hold. Never explain. Now this one is harder, because when we're misunderstood, when people twist our words, assume the worst or question our motives, our instinct is to fight back, to explain, to justify, to make them see us clearly. But here's the brutal truth. Some people don't want to understand you, and others simply can't. No explanation will ever be enough, Epictetus said. If someone speaks badly of you, live in such a way that no one believes him. That's the Stoic way. Live in alignment with your principles. Let your actions speak. Let your integrity stand. And let go of the need to defend every move you make. When you stop explaining, you're no longer seeking control over perception. You're rooted in truth. Not their truth, but yours. And that's where silence comes in. Silence is the posture of power. It's the space where emotion settles, where dignity rises. It doesn't mean you're passive. It means you're choosing not to be reactive. You're letting the storm pass without stepping into it. It means you know, not everyone deserves access to your mind, your time, or your truth. The world will try to provoke you, to pull you into drama, to drag you into noise. But silence? Silence is defiance. Silence is clarity. Silence is control. To never chase, never beg, never explain, is not coldness. It's mastery of your emotions, of your boundaries, of your soul. And when you master that, you stop playing their game, and you start living by your own. At first glance, this quote might sound simple, almost like common sense. But Epictetus wasn't just talking about staying quiet in casual conversation. He was pointing to something much deeper. He was talking about control. In Stoic philosophy, the most powerful person is the one who controls their own mind. And speech, the need to react, to explain, to be heard, often stems from a loss of that control. Think about it. Why do we feel the urge to speak? Sometimes it's fear, fear of being misunderstood. Sometimes it's ego, the need to be right. Sometimes it's insecurity, the craving for validation. Epictetus knew that these urges were traps. Every time we react without discipline, we give away our inner peace. We hand over our serenity to people who may not even deserve our attention. So when he said speak only when necessary, he meant speak only when it serves your principles, not your pride, not your emotions, not your need to defend or impress. The Stoic discipline of assent. One of the most profound ideas in Stoicism is the discipline of assent. It means we don't have to believe every thought we think, or respond to every feeling that rises inside us. When someone insults you, your instinct may say, defend yourself. But a Stoic pauses, examines, asks, is this worth responding to? Does this align with my values? Most of the time, the answer is no. And that's where silence becomes not just a reaction, but a practice, a kind of mental training. It's you saying, I don't owe anyone my reaction. I choose when and how I speak. Modern example, social media and misunderstanding. Imagine this. You post something online, a thought, a belief, maybe even a quote like this one. Someone replies with hate, twisting your words, attacking your character. You feel it rising, the anger, the urge to explain yourself, to clap back. But then you pause. You breathe. You remember Epictetus. And instead of typing a reply, you log off. You go for a walk. You read. You live your life. That's silence. That's power. Because in that moment, you've done what 99% of people can't. You've chosen yourself over the chaos. You've chosen peace over pride. And those who watch you, they feel it. They may not understand it, but they notice it. Silence as a mirror. There's another hidden power in silence. It forces others to face themselves. When you don't react, people are left with their own words, their own judgments. No distractions, no arguments to cling to, just their own reflection. It's unsettling. It's revealing. It's often more powerful than any comeback. Final thought. Epictetus didn't tell us to never speak. He told us to choose our words carefully, to speak when it's aligned with reason, and to remain silent when the world wants a performance. Because silence is not the absence of strength. It's the proof of it. We live in a world addicted to noise. Everyone is talking. Everyone has an opinion. Everyone wants to be heard. Louder, faster, more often. We react instantly. We text back immediately. We explain ourselves even when no one's asking. But what if you didn't? What if you practiced the ancient Stoic art of restraint? Especially when everything around you screams for a reaction. Let's look at a few real-world examples. 1. In relationships, you text someone. They leave you on scene. You feel disrespected. You want to ask why. Did I do something wrong? You're tempted to chase closure. But here's the truth. If someone values you, you won't have to beg for clarity. The Stoic response? Let your silence speak. Don't argue. Don't beg. Don't chase. Let them wonder. Let them realize. Let them sit with your absence. Sometimes, silence teaches more than any words could. 2. At work or school, you're misunderstood in a meeting. A coworker takes credit for your idea. Your instinct says, speak up. Defend yourself. Prove them wrong. But ask yourself, will reacting help? Or will it drain you? The Stoic approach is strategic. If action is necessary, take it calmly. If not, stay silent, observe, and let your consistency over time do the talking. You don't need to explain every detail to earn respect. You just need to stay centered. 3. On social media. Today, people argue online as if every tweet or comment is a battlefield. You post something thoughtful, and someone responds with sarcasm or hate. What's your move? In the Stoic way, don't feed the fire. You're not here to win online arguments. You're here to grow, to live, to protect your energy. Scroll past the noise. Silence is the ultimate filter. 4. In family and personal conflict, when emotions run high, especially with loved ones, silence isn't always easy, but it can be powerful. In a heated moment, a well-timed pause, a breath, a walk, a few quiet hours, can prevent months of regret. Silence allows you to return with clarity, not chaos. 5. With yourself. Silence isn't just about others. It's about you. Take time daily to disconnect. No music, no phone, just you, your thoughts, your breath. This is where wisdom grows. This is where you reclaim your mind from the noise of the world. Because sometimes the loudest thing you can do is say nothing at all. When you stop chasing, begging, and explaining, you begin to move differently, with more intention, with more self-respect, with more peace. The world may not understand you, but they will feel something different about you. That's the quiet confidence Stoicism was built on. When was the last time you didn't respond? Not because you were scared, not because you gave up, but because you finally understood. Not every battle is worth fighting. That's where silence becomes something more than just the absence of words. It becomes a statement, a boundary, a shield. The Stoics weren't emotionless. They simply knew when to hold back, when to pause, when to step away. Not to lose, but to win differently. And maybe that's what you need right now. Not another argument, not another apology, not another explanation, but a moment of stillness, a step back, a breath. Because when you stop chasing, you see who's really aligned with your path. When you stop begging, you realize how full you already are. And when you stop explaining, you finally understand. You were never meant to convince anyone, only to stay true to yourself. So let this be your reminder. You are not here to prove your worth. You are not here to chase people who've already left. You are not here to explain your soul to those committed to misunderstanding you. You are here to live with integrity, to walk with peace, and sometimes to let your silence say everything.